Hello everyone, welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Podcast, where we are previewing an excellent weekend's racing in the main between Ascot and Haydock. We've also got a couple of races from Market Rasen to go through. That's tomorrow, where we're going to start, Friday, as it happens, although apparently there's an inspection there. Hopefully it goes ahead. It's cold. What are you going to do? Welcome along to the podcast, Matchbook's own Micheál Deasy. How are you, Deasy?
Very good, Tom. Very good.
For those watching on the on YouTube or however you're watching, if you're listening, you're missing out because we're in yet another room of the tour of Adele Mulrennan's house. I can only presume you're trying to sell this house, Adele.
Yeah, it's coming on the market soon, so look out. As you can tell, it's beautifully done.
It's new age estate agency, this. Just do a podcast from every different room. Perfect.
Sold, no problem.
And Donn is definitely not selling his house because he's in the same room in lovely office with the two horses behind his head every time. How are you, Donn McClean?
It's my only room, Tom. It's the one-room house.
Oh.
Good. Yeah, all good. All good, thanks.
Those people at Racing TV just don't pay enough, do they, Donn?
That's what it is. Yeah, that's the problem. It's the main problem.
Right, before we get stuck into the previews, let me remind you that you should go to insights.matchbook.com for a recap of all the teams' bets. And that's going to be across Friday and Saturday. And remember, that's for all sports as well at insights.matchbook.com. Get your Premier League stuff there. Get your NFL stuff there as well as some sports specials too. If you are watching us on YouTube, then give this video a like and you can subscribe for free. Makes it easy to watch every time a podcast goes up. And if you're listening to us, give us a review and a follow on your preferred podcast app. Right. First things first, we're going to turn our attention to Market Rasen. There are a good few races sponsored by Team Matchbook tomorrow at Market Rasen. In total, there are 5 races sponsored. Now, 2 of them are on ITV. The first of them is the Matchbook Best Odds Handicap Hurdle. And it's pretty tight at the top. You've got Legrand Leon, who is... I said Leon because that's how it was pronounced in the race last time. I think that's probably right. Legrand Leon. 3.5. Slightly bigger is Manila Buster at 3.75. Florinox is 9.6. This is the live Matchbook market as it looks currently. Grand Lord is 10.5, as is Optimistic Bias. Bembridge 11.5, Weebill 12.5, Some Detail 13s. It's going to happen biggest of the lot 36.0. So this is all hopefully going to go ahead. There is a frost issue there at the moment. Hopefully it goes ahead though. And Adele, I'll start with you if I can. Who do you like at Rasen and why?
Okay, I've gone for a bigger price. I've gone against the favourite. I've gone for Florinox. What was it, 9.6 there? So you could even back at the place market. I just thought this horse made a really pleasing start for Alex Hales. That was after 336 days off the track. So he's open to come on for that. It just looked like he got a little bit tired. It was over 3 miles and 1 furlong. So I think the step back down in trip as well will be a plus. I think a mark of 117 is a very workable mark for him. He's been placed off higher, off 125. So I just think there's still a little bit left in the tank with him. So I'm going to go with Florinox. And as I said, I'm going to back him at the place market because I wasn't overly keen on anything to go straight in on a win bet. So I'm going to go with him.
With Florinox, would you, with 11 runners, you say you'd have a bet in the place market. Any chance you'd throw a small percentage behind him for the win at 9.6? Yeah, just a place bet?
Possibly, yeah. Might have a look, see what's happening with the ground as well on the day. I just think it's a bit of a wide open race that I thought you could pull faults in a few of them. I was just trying to find something that looks like it's still got a little bit up their sleeve for this season. I just thought he was one of them.
Yeah, I thought it is wide open, and I thought both the races were pretty difficult that we're going to be previewing. All 4 of us have gone for different horses here, so that makes your life easy if you're watching or listening. Florinox for Adele. Deasy, who do you like?
I've gone for Grand Lord, Stuart Edmonds' horse. He was last seen finishing second to a horse called Wrongway Harry on Boxing Day. Wrongway Harry was an ex-Mick Winters horse who was widely well handicapped for that race. He won it very easily. Grand Lord chased him home in second. I think he was unlucky on the day that he came up against him because he would have won that race, I think, fairly handily. He's gone up and trip a small bit here now. He's gone up to 2 mile 7. I think that'll be in his favour. And Stuart Edmonds is in decent form. He's a nice price. He's 10.5. So I'll probably do win place and even stakes on board.
Fair enough. Even win place stakes on DC selection. You also managed to use the words Boxing Day and Mick Winters in the same sentence, which I doubt has ever happened before. Because as far as Mick Winters is concerned, it's definitely St. Stephen's Day, right?
Yeah, but we have a UK audience and they don't know what I'm saying. They don't know what I'm saying most of the time anyway. And they're only making it harder when I'm saying Stephen's Day. So
you wait till we get Mick Winters on, then we're really in trouble.
Yeah.
Don, Manila Buster for you.
Yeah, like Adele, I'm against the favourite, Le Grand Leon. I just thought that he was all out to beat Flexi Furlow last time at Huntington, and I know the pair of them pulled clear, but she's a pretty exposed mare, and she was beaten next time. By contrast, Manila Buster won easily at Plumpton last time. He's only had the 3 runs. He's got his handicap mark now of 112, which looks fair. He won his point-to-point for John Allen, obviously, as we know, with the Manila name, and the step up and trip from 2.5 miles to 3. He's bred for it. I think he could improve again for the step up and trip. He's a progressive horse anyway, with just 3 runs over hurdles on his CV, plus a run and a bumper and those point-to-point runs. And yeah, look, it's not a very strong opinion, Tom, but I think he might be a wee bit of value against the favourite, Le Grand Leon.
Yeah, I'm the only one going with Le Grand Leon. My concern would be, and it's not a massively strong opinion, but I didn't fancy much against him. I thought Manila Buster was probably the hardest to weigh up, but could be very, very dangerous. But I just thought when I was looking at the race, they were bang on joint favourites, and I felt Le Grand Leon, based upon that Huntington win, should be clear favourite. So that's why he's a sort of a lightweight selection for me. Ben Pauling's going along nicely. It was a proper battle with Flexi Furlow. So my main concern was that 26 days later, will he still be feeling that? That was the worry. There's a slight drop back in trip, which doesn't worry me. It was soft at Huntington. He saw it out really well. He's probably going to get soft again, maybe good to soft at Market Rasen. But there's a lot of pace on, and I think that'll suit him. It'll make it a decent test. That was his handicap debut. I thought a £2 rise was fair enough because I thought he was probably idling more than anything. I think he had a bit more in hand than just a net win. So I'll take the view that he's going to keep on improving, and a £2 rise was fair enough. But it wouldn't be the prediction with the most conviction, it's fair to say. Are we done there, ladies and gentlemen? Should we move on? Lovely. Let's move on to the Matchbook race second up, which is, I'm going to give you the full name. So that's the right thing. It's a Matchbook betting exchange handicap hurdle over 2.5 miles a furlong. The odds look like this. Angel's Landing is 3.95, 6.2 for Astroman, as is Raven's Car. Nashville Nipper 6.8, Lady Killer 7.2, Presuming Ed 8.8, Feel the Pinch 11.5. Kiss My Face, Great Partridge saying that, is 19.0, as is King's Creek. 25, Keep the Faith, 36.0, Nervous Adidas. I'm sitting this one out. I know it's a Matchbook sponsored race and I probably shouldn't, but I would have been guessing. I thought this was really, really tough. Don, I'll come straight. No, I won't, because you'll know better as well. Adele, I'll come straight back to you. Who do you like?
Well, I'm hoping Angel's Landing is finally going to get the job done. I mean, I don't think she's the most straightforward. She does seem to have a bit of a wander around towards hurdles, but surely with the weight she's carrying, Charlie's £3 allowance, surely it's the time for her to finally get her head in front. I think no excuses for her on Friday. I think she should be able to get the job done. I'm glad she's not too short. What price was she?
Angel's Landing.
Yeah.
She was right towards the top. I haven't got it. I
was hoping she might be like 0, something like that, is she?
Yeah, our producer will confirm very shortly. Go on. That's
grand. I'll take that all day long. I just think she's surely got to get it done on Friday. If she doesn't, I say he must be pulling his hair out with her. Her. And then I just want to give a little mention for Lady Killer, who's in my tracker, who was a Group 3 winner on the flat. Only had a couple of starts over hurdles, so I just think one to watch, one to maybe just see how she goes on a third start, and just maybe keep her in the tracker. I mean, she's not badly priced either. You could even go for a little place bet on her.
Lady Killer's she's in my tracker. I don't know why she is.
I thought if she can reproduce what she's done on the flat over hurdles, I just think she's surely going to run a big race at some point. So I'm still.
You have those horses in your tracker that you're like, why have I got that? I'm not sure why I do, because I don't think it was off the back of that Southwell run. I don't know, but anyway.
You need to write down why, Tom, somewhere. Why? Because that happens to me a lot. You get your note and you go, "What's that?" And then you check your notes and you go, "Ah, yeah."
Ah, that's why. Yeah, because Deasy texted me and told me to put it in my track.
So she's in there. I will probably have a little place bet on her anyway, just because she's in there. I'll kick myself if I don't.
Okay, so that's Lady Killer. As you can see, if you're watching, Adele's gone for a mention to Lady Killer, but Angel's Landing is 3.95. Daniel, thank you very much for that. 3.95 for.
I'll take that.
DC.
I think I found one in this race now, lads. Feel the Pinch.
Wow.
Fergal O'Brien's horse. He came back from nearly 2 years off to run in the handicap hurdle at Cheltenham in the December meeting that Nico de Boinville had a very questionable ride on Broomfield Burgh to finish second. He went off at triple figure odds that day, but he was backed in from 125 to 1 to 100 to 1, so someone thought something was going to happen. He dropped down in grade the next time to a class 4 at Wetherby and actually ran fairly well. He finished fourth, but much improved, stayed on, wasn't beaten that long. Now he's after coming down 6 pounds for those 2 runs, despite running in a 0 to 140 and a 0 to 135 race. So he's in here now running off 109. Fergal O'Brien is coming back into form. I think he had kind of a quiet spell there for a while. Feel the Pinch, I think he might take a few runs to get going. I mean, he won his maiden hurdle in June 2019 after 3 fairly bad runs and put it all together on the 4th run. So hopefully he's found a bit of fitness. As you said, this isn't the greatest race of all time. So he's 10.5. I'll have a little win place betting him as well.
Lovely job. I think I found one here, lads. It's definitely going to be the hook line that goes out on social media. Guaranteed. Feel the Pinch, win and place for DC. Thanks for the comments that we're getting in, incidentally, on YouTube. That's largely because this is peak jumps racing. We have said Energumene or Shishkin, guys, and that's basically all you need anyone to talk about. While we're previewing other races, it is all about Energumene or Shishkin. We're going to come to that when we start. Obviously, it is a 4-runner race when we start the Saturday action. So we'll do that at the top of the Saturday action. But for now, we're going to turn our attention to Lingfield. Part of the Winter Million series. This is they race their Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday and Sunday over jumps, and this is the feature on the Friday. On the blind side is 2.78 for this staying contest. Calvadorg is 3.1, 3.85 Emitom, Topville Bend 7.6, and Dan McGrew is 42.0. Just to make life really easy for everyone, we've got 4 different select. How have we come up with 4 different horses here? Right, DC, you go first because you've gone with the horse at the top of the betting.
Yeah, I just this isn't a very strong opinion now, to be honest, but I think on the blind side handles heavy ground. He's a good record on heavy ground. It's currently listed as heavy at Lingfield. He's got a few decent runs behind him this year, although this 2.6p doesn't really reflect how well he's run. And I just thought that he was probably the best of the trade. I think he's a high enough class horse, and again, I think conditions will suit. So that was my reasoning behind it, but not a very strong case made from there. I have to admit, but yeah, I'm going for him.
I put him up last time, and it was a pretty poor shout. To be fair, he pulled up. Adele.
I was listening to Nicky Henderson this morning. He really fancies on the blind side. I'm kicking myself for not going for him because I've tipped him a few times and he's come good for me. But I'm going to go for Calvadorg. I think this horse needs a bit of time in between his runs. So I think Newbury probably came around a little bit too quick for him. Obviously, won on his reappearance, so he goes well fresh. And when you look back through some of his wins, they always seem to be like a month or 2 after he's ran. So I do think he wants a little bit of time. So he's had a little bit of a freshen up. He has won on heavy ground. I know his recent wins have been on kind of good ground, but I don't think he should be a problem. He has won on heavy before. The trip should be fine. He's won over 3 miles. So I think purely ran bad because the race come too quickly for him. So I think a bit of a freshen up should see him back to hopefully being in good heart.
Donn, you are with Emitom, who was probably once going to be considered far and away the best of these. He hasn't quite lived up to expectation.
No, he hasn't. And look, he is risky, but I just think back on soft ground, like they're calling it heavy at Lingfield, so it's going to be soft at least. And back, look on his old form, Tom, as you know, he was really impressive within the Rendlesham. He finished fourth in the Stairs Hurdle. Maybe not the best renewal of the Stairs Hurdle ever, but he still ran well to finish fourth in it. And I think back over hurdles now, he's had a couple of goals in chases last year and again this year, and he didn't run badly actually behind 300 through 5 last time on ground that should have been soft or faster than ideal for him. So back on soft ground, he's only had 4 runs over fences, but back over hurdles, his form tells you he's a better hurdler than chaser. And look, his runs over hurdles last year, including in the Rendlesham last season back in the spring, they weren't very good, but I think there's enough in his 2 runs over fences back now this season to suggest that he could be close to the form that he was in as a hurdler. And given that he's a better hurdler, he's 1 for 1 at Lingfield as well, so he's got form at the track on better ground, but he's a real soft ground horse. So I just think that, like, on the blind side, you can see it. He's a classy horse. He's been running in those really good staying hurdles. He ran a massive race in the long distance hurdle, albeit that was a strange enough race in the end, the way it was run. And over 2.5 miles the last day, he probably just didn't have the pace. So you can maybe allow him his pulled up there, but just a short priced horse coming into this on the back of a pulled up run. And he's 10 years old as well. So I just think there's enough in there to allow me anyway take on the blind side. And I think Emma Tom, yeah, he's the one who I think there could be more to come from him over hurdles, and he should have conditions to his liking on Friday, tomorrow.
Yeah, I took the view that I wanted to take on the blind side because of that run last time, and the fact that he's a short price at the top of the betting. I normally feel like he's underestimated, but not here. I thought Topville Ben was interesting for a small bet at what I thought was a fair price. I know this is over hurdles. On his chase rating, he's joint top rated here. Maybe he's not as, he's not quite going with that flair that he showed probably this time last year. But I'm taking the return to hurdles as a positive for that. Hope maybe it'll just bring about a bit of improvement or get it back on the right track. But the main thing is that I'm taking the view, take out the French run where he was ran over hurdles where he was pulled up. Before that, the last time he was running over hurdles, he was still a bit of a tearaway. So for all he's rated £8 better over jumps, I take the view that he's just an all-round more tractable, improved horse since he last ran over hurdles in this country. So I just thought he might be a bit underestimated. I thought he was a fair price anyway on, a test at this trip on testing ground, I think will suit him perhaps more than a few others. And I thought he was a fair price. Small stakes for me on Topville Ben. That's the Kazoo hurdle at Lingfield. We all done there? Good. Now for the easy bit, Friday best bets. So we're going around the grounds with a few of them. First of all, Don, though, you're sticking at one of the races we previewed.
Yeah, well, given that I didn't have a bet in the other, and the other Class 4 Matchbook or hurdle at Market Rasen, I don't have a massively strong opinion on it. Emma Tom is he's risky. He's thin ice. I think he needs to bounce back, but I think he's third favourite, and I think he might be the value of that. Okay,
Emma Tom for you. Adele, your best bet?
I'm going to Newcastle for a horse of Nicky Henderson's, but on the flat, progressive. I don't know if anyone's seen her win at Wolverhampton. I know Wolverhampton and Newcastle are different tracks, but she's actually won there. So that's a good thing. And she's got one of Haggis's to beat. But Haggis had a couple of favourites beaten in the last 14 days. So whether these horses are just running under par a little bit, I'm just going to jump on board her at a better price.
That is your best bet. And progressive in the 4 o'clock at Newcastle. Deasy, your best bet?
I'm going for Colonial Dreams, another Nicky Henderson horse in the 3 o'clock at Lingfield. He's a 10-year-old running in a novice chase, but he's only run 20 times in his career. He was very unlucky to lose the last time. He was just picked up on the run-in by a horse that you're very familiar with, Tom, I.K. Burnell, a horse who's named after a man who's named after a university. But he's going to be close to a double figure price to be hoping for about 11.0. There's only 7 runners, so you can go in place if you want, but I'm going to stick it on the nose and hopefully James Bowen gets him home. I know what you're saying is very smart, Tom, but you're on mute.
Yeah, there we are. We're back. It actually lets you know. That's good. It says your mic is muted. I'm impressed with that. Good system. I'm going to go. Look, it's not a hugely confident shout. Friday wouldn't be where I'm going in deep. It's fair to say, but of my 2 horses I put up, Le Grand Leon, I thought was fair enough at the top of the betting, who should be a clear favourite, I thought. So of the horses I've covered, that's my best bet. Yes. Saturday. What a day as well. We are going to start with the Clarence. We are completely split on this race. Obviously, it's not a 2-horse race, but it's being billed as such. So we've got Energumene Shishkin. Let me pull up the current betting for you. Currently, you've got for the Clarence House at the top of the betting, Shishkin, unsurprisingly, who is 1.8, and then 2.75 for Energumene. First flow. Last year's winner is 12.0, and a Moolah Gold for Dan and Harry Skelton is any price you like. Right. So we've got in the red corner, 2 of us fancy Energumene. In the blue corner, 2 of us fancy Shishkin. First of all, Adele is going to tell us why Energumene won't win.
Shouldn't Energumene be in the blue corner?
Yeah. Or in the green corner.
Oh, that could be it.
Yeah. What corner did I have Shishkin in? Anyway, what? Yeah.
The blue one.
Oh, I didn't see you, Tom, going with Energumene at all. I thought you were going to go with Shishkin. What's going on?
Well, I'll explain. But go on. Why?
I'll go for my mind. Last night, I spent a long time going through the sectionals and the times of these 2 horses, and I can tell you now that Energumene hasn't got the gears to stick with Shishkin at all. You look through through the win times from all the races. I know you've got to take into consideration the ground, the tracks. Obviously, some of the races have been a little bit further than 2 miles, but Energumene's times are nowhere near like Shishkin's at all. His sectionals are very good. I know Kempton ran a little bit slowly at the start, but he still was good. He still had good sectionals at the finish. He's got some serious gears at this horse. All you've got to do is look at the sectional timings, and it'll back them up. You look at Energumene's win times. Some of them have been slow by like 25 seconds. 0.25, 0.14, whereas Shishkin's are all kind of more or less like on point. So he can run 2 miles like under 4 minutes, which is what you want to be doing, I think, to really see a horse with gears. And from what I can see from the sectional times, I don't think Energumene's got the gears to go with him at all.
And while you're there, Adele, before I ask Don to counter-argument that, where are you with the 3rd horse, probably with a chance, no disrespect to the outsider, with last year's winner?
His times are actually a little bit better with Energumene, but whether he just hasn't been pushed out of his boundaries yet, and I suppose it might change on Saturday, I don't know. But from what I've seen from his times, they're very slow.
Okay, Don, Energumene, who we fancy, is not quick enough.
Yeah, I just think Energumene, we haven't got near the bottom of him yet. Like, I think the Champion Chase is a different ball game because it's Cheltenham left-handed. I do think Energumene does have a tendency to go to his right. And even when he won at Naas last year, when he beat Captain Guinness, he was a bit to his right, but the ground was better on the outside than it was on the inside. So going to your right I think it probably was an advantage, actually. And that was the same at Leopardstown when they went wide down the back straight and jumping to a little bit to his right. It wasn't a disadvantage. I will be worried he's got to get there. I know we're jumping the gun a bit, but in the Champion Chase on probably better ground than we're going to have at Ascot on Saturday, I'd be worried about Energumene there because Cheltenham, it's a turn-in track. If you're jumping even a wee bit to your right, you're giving away ground when you don't want to, especially if it's genuine good to soft ground and no softer than that. But I just think Energumene, he's got that engine. He hasn't really been challenged. He's like all his wins are by 8, 10, 12 lengths, and he was kind of flawless last year here. It was such a shame he missed Cheltenham, and in the Hillyway Chase again this season, he just was very, very good. Like Notebook tried to go with him, and Notebook is a very, very good horse. Like he's a 160 odd rated horse, and Notebook couldn't live with him. And Notebook had race fitness on his side as well, having won the Fortria Chase. So just the way that Energumen burned him off and then had enough in reserve to go on again and win really impressively on soft ground. I think soft ground, right-handed 2 miles or stiff 2 miles, it's probably very close to optimum for Energumen. And I just think, like, you know, Shishkin may beat him. He's favoured to beat him. You can understand why in Adele's case is solid, but I just think he could. We don't know yet how they compare, and Energumen could be as good as Shishkin. He's got conditions in his favour, track in his favour. I think. Well, he's never gone to Ascot. I think right-handed is good, and he could be as good as Shishkin, and he's a bigger price than him. So for me, Energumen is the bet.
Deasy.
Yeah, like Shishkin is like, we already know that he's a super freak. Like he's a serious horse. He's beaten a lot of good horses already, and even just on a line through Franco de Port that Energumen beat him by 10 lengths at the Dublin Racing Festival last year, and Shishkin beat him by 27, I think, at Cheltenham. So he just has the form in the book, and Energumen, I don't think he's ever faced a horse even close within 20 pounds of what Shishkin can do. Like Shishkin absolutely destroyed Grenadine again last time, and Grenadine had put up a fairly good performance, now beating Hitman before that, like, and Shishkin just absolutely got it away from him. So like it's not going to be a bet that I'm going to be putting any money on because the prices are too short. If I was going to back anything, I would back First Flow, because I think that he won this race very well last year. It was a big shock, but he beat Politlog by 7 lengths, and I think he's going. It's interesting if David Bass does the same thing as last year now and just kicks from not Tatnam Corner. I mean, Swinley Bottom, and just goes from there. He's
kicking a long way from home if he's kicking from Tatnam Corner.
Yeah,
he'd have about 35 miles to go.
What's the name of the corner? Anyway, if he kick from there, like, and he's going to make a race for the other two, and this is really going to be an absolute belter of a race. I can't wait for it. I was over at the Clarence house a few years ago when Altior broke, or I think he equaled the record for consecutive wins, and it was just a schooling session in the fog. It was very disappointing, but this is going to be a brilliant race.
Okay, so just on you, Dees, you are.
I think Shishkin will win, because I think he's a super horse.
And are you going to back First Flow?
No, I'm not going to back anything. If I was going to back anything, I'd have a fiver on First Flow just in case. But not fine. Yeah, for interest. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to for transparency reasons. I am on Insights going to stick you down as a no bet. Just
grand. Yeah.
Just so you don't give out if Shishkin romps home. No. So the only thing, well, I'm just going to open up to champion chase betting shortly, but the only thing I sort of back Don's argument up that. So personally, I think Shishkin's a better horse on what we've seen, and I think he'll prove that at Cheltenham in the champion chase. I'll give you the odds for that very shortly. It's just the right-handed factor when both of them have a fairly similar record wins-wise. They've both almost looked unbeatable. Shishkin certainly has, and I think Energumen will trade odds on in the run. And he's a good point bigger than I think he'll trade in the run, so maybe I'll look to play it that way. But I'll probably just let it ride. I think coming into the straight, I can see Energumen in front. So I don't think First Flow will necessarily have the gears to give him something to think about on the front end. So I think Energumen will win. I think Energumen will lead. I think he'll trade shorter. I don't necessarily think he's the best horse, but if he is going to beat Shishkin, it'll be here, not Cheltenham. So he's just about the bet for me. As far as I wish for his chances. I don't know if you think the same, Don. I do wish it was going to be more testing ground.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the more testing, the better for Energumen. And yeah, look, Ascot can dry out. Even the chase track can dry out, but. Yeah, if it's genuinely soft ground, that'll be a positive for Energumen, I think.
So at the moment, Matchbook have Shishkin 2.1, Energumen 3.6 for the champion chase. So just to open that out, Adele, I take it if you think Shishkin's going to win this, you definitely think he'll win the champion chase. Do you think Cheltenham will suit him even more than it will Energumen?
absolutely. I get goosebumps even thinking about this horse. I've never seen anything like it. He's fantastic. Even at Kempton, he'd been off for so long, and you wouldn't have even known, would you? I know he hit a very slight flat spot just as they quickened up, but once the petrol was put back on, he's soon back on the bridle. Like, he's so I can't have him. He's a serious horse. I can't have him getting beat at all. If anything, I would look to have what are the prices for the distance wins, the winning distances, and go.
I don't have them, but I like it. You think
two or three lengths, yeah.
You think you'll hammer him? I love it.
Oh yeah, I do. Like, his times are fantastic compared to. I know. Obviously, I'm kind of going on the Irish times, and the ground can be a lot slower over there. But he's just surely hasn't got the gears to go with him. Can't see it.
And also, I'm not sure distances are always that accurate over there, but I take the point, definitely. No offense to any Irish viewers. I think it's well documented. Okay, Deasy, anyone thinking of having a bet in the Champion Chase before the Clarence House, would you advise them to or not?
Don't bother tying up any money for 2 months. The price is that short.
Okay, done. Donn, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think if an Ergumen does beat Shishkin on Saturday,
I'm going to look him up it.
Scary. An Ergumen could go shorter than Shishkin for the Champion Chase, and that would be the time to back Shishkin for the Champion Chase, I think.
Adele, that's what it's all about. Ultimately, you want it's strong opinions of what the game is about. It's not always going to be right, but that's what makes it such a great game.
I can only go on what I've seen myself, and from what I've seen myself, like I did the paddock spot on him at Kempton for ITV, and it was purely like how did he look, and you wouldn't have thought he'd been off the track that long. Yeah, he would mentally come on for the run, and he would tighten up ever so slightly. I mean, you wouldn't have said, "Oh, well, you can't run him; he's too fat." Like, he didn't have much condition on him. He just would tighten up a little bit, and the way he ran was fantastic, wasn't it? So I just think he's a serious horse. I think he's the best we've seen yet.
David says, how about an Ergumen for the Ryanair if he gets beat? The new course, less turning versus the old. Well, I think the issue there would be Willie Mullins likes to have a horse in every race. I'm not sure where we are with Shacken at the moment, but I think he's pretty well represented in the Ryanair with Allaho and the like. So I don't know, but yeah,
it is a fair point though, because when he won at Goran Park, in my mind he was a 2.5 miler, and I was worried about him dropping back down and trip to 2 miles, but he's proven that on soft ground anyway he's got 2 mile pace. But it was yielding ground when he wanted punches down at the end of last season. So yeah, I wouldn't be worried about the trip, but it is an option. He does stay 2.5.
Right, let's move on to the. Well, I suppose it is the feature at Haydock. And as we do that transition, we just need to call out Micheál Deasy, who says that you never tie up your money 2 months out on a short price, but he did tell everyone to back Norwich to finish bottom of the Premier League at 2.1 in October. So,
Norwich aren't going to pull out of the Premier League because they have a tendon injury or a stone bruise, and they're 1.7 now.
So, okay, yeah. Practice what you preach, Deasy.
If you need the money you've tied up, if you need that back for Cheltenham, you can get out of Norwich now easily.
I'll have it for Ascot, Dan.
We've got more short prices in the oh no, I'm on the wrong race, my apologies everyone. It is another, we got short prices in the first two that we're going to be covering at Haydock. So first of all, the Rossington main, that's the Supreme Trial. The Rossington main currently has John Bon, unsurprisingly, bang at the top of the market, who is 1.5. Might I is 6.5. Richmond Lake is 10.0. Then we get back into the bigger prices. There's a lot of. Basically, I'm with Mai Tai as a bet. Everyone else is with John Bon. Raise a hand if somebody sees John Bon as a bet at that price. Actually, part with money on John Bon. Fair enough. Don, discuss John Bon as a sort of as a proposition for this, and then onto the Supreme potentially.
Yeah. Look, he's done everything. He was high profile before he ever got to a race course because of his relations and because of his price tag. But I think he's taken really good steps towards living up to the reputation that he had. And it was a fair ask for him to get up to that type of level, but he's getting there, and he's been very good in all he's done. I suppose his 2 wins over hurdles have been, they've both been slowly run races. Like at Newbury at the Ladbrokes Trophy meeting, they stood still for seconds and then they just kind of moved off, and Aidan Coleman was happy to allow John Bon go on, so he led at a sedate pace. And it was a similar story at Ascot last time, but he quickened off a slow pace. I suppose we'd like to see a faster pace, and maybe Richmond Lake would be the one to lead them, and therefore let him track a pace, and hopefully a decent pace, as opposed to making his own, because you can argue they've been similar types of scenarios the last 2 runs and his last 2 wins. For all that he's looked impressive, he has had it all his own way in front. You can argue for all that the sedate pace probably didn't suit him, but yeah, I think hopefully we'll get a decent race. But look, he's doing everything that he's been asked to do. He's obviously held in really high regard. He's got a turn of foot, and yeah, you can understand why he's a short price. But yeah, I think Richmond Lake might run well as well, drop back down and trip from the front, especially if they allow him alone up front. But yeah, looking forward to seeing what John Bunn does. And then Cheltenham, yeah, look, he looks like a Supreme Novices hurdle horse. For all that he and Constitution Hill, they might be split up. So Gerhard and Dynamo might be split up as well. So Dicer Dynamo might be split up as well. So that's intriguing to see how that's going to develop. But I suppose all John Bunn can do is go and win on Saturday.
I feel convinced John Bunn and Constitution Hill will run the same race at Cheltenham. I don't know why. I just think that'll happen. Anyway, Adele, why won't John Bunn get beat here?
Well, from what we've seen and what we heard, he shouldn't. I wouldn't be backing him though at that price. He isn't. I don't really like him that much of a horse, to be honest with you. He's a bit sweaty for me, should I say. I know myself and Matt got into a little bit of an argument about it. I do think he needs the experience massively. I know he's won both his starts, but we haven't really learned that much about him. Like as Don said, they went no gallop. The times were so slow. He got his own way out in front. So I suppose what we want to see on Saturday is just see him actually have a proper race. So I wouldn't be backing him. Haydock, it's kind of like plays into, it's like good for him to have experience around there. And the good thing about Haydock is you can saddle him in, most people saddle him in the stable yard. So they don't have this, it's literally stable yard straight into the main parade ring. They're not messing about much before racing, so before the race. So it should work out well that he shouldn't even get too much sweaty, because he hasn't got to do a lot of walking around in the pre-parade ring, get saddled in stable boxes. He literally can come straight out of his saddle and straight out of his stable and go straight into the main parade ring. But I wouldn't be backing him for Cheltenham either. I don't know. I'll be interested to see how he runs on Saturday. It's just a horse that looks to me like he doesn't take his racing that well. If you can get me what I mean, like he gets sweaty the more he does.
So yeah, you know how you say horses have a win in them. You're like, oh, they've got a win in them. I feel like he's got a defeat in him, and not just.
I think he has. I'm not sure when, and then it might be Cheltenham, because I don't care what anyone says. If something gets that sweaty beforehand, going to a big stage like that is only going to be worse. And I know Nicky's already said he's working on him at home with that. And he's obviously a horse that is quite energetic and quite probably a little bit buzzy at home. So he obviously can't do too much with him. So he's having to run him as well to kind of knock that edge off him at the same time. Just like I said, I think he might get beat at some point. I don't know if it'll be Saturday. I mean, surely at the without betting, you probably go for Might Eye with his form with Constitution Hill.
Yeah, so that I'd back him in the outright market and in the without market, Might Eye. Like, he's a really nice horse. I was at Sandown when he got beaten by Constitution Hill. And both of them stood out, and we know what Constitution Hill has done since. And he Might Eye tried to serve it up to the horse alongside him, and then when Constitution Hill, tracked them throughout, he then tried to go with him, and I think he paid a price for that. He was hammered, but we might just look at that form and go, I know he's beaten 14 lengths, but
it's the best form coming into that, isn't it?
I think there's just too much between a horse like Might Eye and a horse like John Bunn, who I feel has got a disappointment in him. I think the point you made about Haydock as a track and what they do there is really interesting for him, because that will suit. But I think he's worth taking on, and I'll back him back Might Eye in the without market as well. Dees, do you want to say anything on this?
No, not really. You've covered everything fairly well there. I just think I think John Bunn should win this. I think he's better than probably he's shown. Like Colonel Mustard is a decent horse, and I think he had him fairly well held the last day. So I can see him improving for his racing, and he should be a handy enough winner of this.
Right, move on to a race where we've got more sort of forthright opinions, it's fair to say. 145 Ascot, Holloway's handicap hurdle. There's a good few shouts for Stellar Magic here, who is 6.5. Gary Clement is 5.5 at the top of the betting. Unexpected Party 6.0. That's quite well named, Unexpected Party, I suppose, given everything that's going on. 8.0, Feed Dudery. 10.0, Kateson and Smurfy Enki. Double figures. The rest, we'll come to those if we put them up. There are 3 shouts for Stella Magic. Deasy, you can lead us off.
Yeah, I put him up as my best bet of the weekend the last time, and he was beaten by Up for Parole. No, it was his first run of the season and his first run off couldn't be long enough break. I just think he's a very good horse. Up for Parole didn't do the form, and he didn't do bad with it last week. You know, I think he finished as a 6th in the Lanzarote. I just thought Stella Magic, like even in just go back to his novice hurdle form. You know, he'd be Alaphilippe. He was, you know, he does a good horse in there. This is a hot enough race, but he's a decent price. You know, he's a decent win only price. Everyone else is going to put him up as well, so I just give a shout out to Kateson as well. I think that he's moved to Alistair Ralph. He win this last year, ran very well in this last year. This has probably been he finished 3rd in this last year, the Craig Niche. This has probably been his target. So if you want something at a bigger price for a win place bet, maybe Kateson, but Stella Magic would be the main one.
And for me, who I thought he might be favourite, Stella Magic. That was my sort of surprise when I saw him in there. So 6.5, I think is fair enough. He's definitely entitled to come on for that run. £4 for finishing second, you're not going to love, but I can't really argue with it. I think it's really good form. Adele?
Yeah, no, I completely agree on everything that you both said. I know Deasy's touched on his novice form. Go back to his point-to-point form, though, and a horse that finished second to him, Pay the Piper, who is trained by Anne Hamilton, has got a mark of 140 over hurdles, I think 143 over fences. So surely, I think he's up to that level, isn't he? So I suppose off his mark on Saturday, I know he went up £4 for finishing second. I still think he's got a bit in hand though. This horse, I do.
And Don, you're looking elsewhere.
Yeah, solo. Funny, I thought Gary Clement would not be favourite, and it appears that he is, or he's at the top of the market anyway, or disputing favouritism. Look, I can see the case for Stella Magic, and Up for Parole. Agree with Deasy. He actually ran very well in the Lanzarote hurdle. He travelled in rear, and it was a race in which the pace held up well. So Up for Parole did well to get as close as they did, I thought, from the back of the field. But Gary Clement, like his last 2 runs at Ascot, that in the race in November, he had the race in the bag really going to the last, and he kind of went to his left, seemed to lose concentration, and he just opened the gate for Captain Morgan. When Captain Morgan got up past him, he ran on again. So he was probably unlucky not to win that. And then last time in the Betfair Exchange Trophy, he went around the inside the whole way, more or less towards the inside, and he was handy enough just behind a fast pace. Tritonic came from behind him, and Tritonic was ridden wide. One More for the Road was ridden wide. West Cork was way wide. So I just thought it was probably a disadvantage to be towards the inside that day. And Gary Clement, again, stayed on to finish 3rd, and the first 3 were clear. So he only got £1 for that, which I thought was more than fair. And he's stepping up into 2.5 miles. I think that's a positive. He won over 2.5 miles, and nearly 2.5 miles at Warwick last year, at the end of last year, on soft ground. So he's back at Ascot, where he's got good form as well. And yeah, I think there's a good race in him. I think he's potentially a very well handicapped horse. That run in the Betfair Exchange Trophy, the old Ladbroke Trophy, it was a very good run and a very competitive handicap in a race in which I just didn't think he was ridden to best advantage. So yeah, I think he can step forward quite significantly from that.
That's our look at the Holloway's Handicap hurdle on Saturday, halfway through the day pretty much. Before we move on, time to remind you about the sign-up offer. It is for new customers only with Team Matchbook. It's the £20 welcome offer. Money back as cash if your first bet loses. So it is for new customers only. You've got to use the bonus code Insights RF. Those are the letters RF, Romeo Foxtrot, Insights RF. Place your first bet. If it loses, you get your money back, stake back as cash. Full terms and conditions on the Matchbook websites. The £20 welcome offer, sign-up offer. Money back as cash if your first bet loses with Matchbook. New customers only, 18 plus. Be gamble aware. Right, let's kick on to another relatively uncompetitive race. 2:00 at Haydock. It is the new one hurdle. It's registered as the Champion Hurdle Trial. Tommy's Oscar sat pretty at the top of the betting at 1.72. Hunter's Call is 3.5. 13.0 Navajo Pass, bigger prices than the rest. I'm sitting this one out. Didn't like the look of it at all as a betting race. 3 shouts for Tommy's Oscar. I know, Don, that you've prefaced that by saying no bet for you. Adele, Deasy, would you be having money on Tommy's Oscar at that price or not?
Probably not.
No. Okay. I feel like I just get your view on Tommy's Oscar, Adele. I feel like you might know him better than us.
They're such nice people, honestly. I mean, they've only got 4 or 5 horses in training, and most of them have ran up to a racing post rating of 150. Like they're really nice people. I just, do you know when you just feel like this horse is Cheltenham? Because I mean, the last 2 winners won this and never won again. I know they're not keen on going to Cheltenham. They're not keen on going to Aintree. I mean, I do hope he wins and goes on and wins something else, but I feel like it's their big day. I'd love to see him win, and if he doesn't, I feel sorry for them, and I wouldn't be backing him. But he's a fantastic horse for them. He's been a great horse for the North. Danny McMenamin's back on board as well. Obviously, he was off; he was injured, so he'll be looking to get back with a nice big winner. They put Tom Midgley on him when he ran at Musselburgh, and that was because of his claim. And I think they thought he was going to struggle with his mark then, and he clearly didn't. Just like when I look through some of his races, I think, I want to back him, but then I think, he hangs a little bit and he doesn't always look that straightforward. So I kind of put myself off him, and then he goes and runs well. But to be honest, I want him to win for the team. They're lovely people. They work really hard. Am I going to back him? Probably not, no.
Okay, fair enough. Dees, do you want to add anything? You don't have to.
No, I was just quickly on Hamilton. I was just like, they have 6 horses. 4 of them have won. They have 9 winners from 22 runners this year. It's 41% strike rates. Unbelievable stuff. They're doing a brilliant job, and I agree with Adele. I'd love to see him win tomorrow or on Saturday.
Don, do you want to say anything nice about Anne Hamilton?
I don't know, Anne Hamilton. Interesting. Tommy's Oscar. They're talking about Tommy's Oscar as a potential champion hurdle horse. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They were. I mean, I don't think even if he wins, I don't think they had a bad experience, didn't they? With one of the horses down there, he got struck into, and it's miles away where they are up in Scotland. It takes them a whole day to get down to wherever they got to go to, and a lot of planning goes into it. And I think they would hate to see something happen to him. So I just feel like Saturday is their kind of Cheltenham, if you know what I mean. It's like a big day for them. Grade 2.
Don is such a nice bloke, right? That is his way of saying that was not got any shot in the Cheltenham. He's such a nice guy. Like, interesting.
But you'd love to see it.
Oh, you'd love to see it. Right, let's move on. Not the most inspiring betting heat, it's fair to say. We're going to come on to the 220 at Ascot. Interesting race, I think. We've got a couple of shouts for My Sister Sarah, 3 shouts, and Molly Ollie's Wishes for Adele. So, Adele, you take it away, and then we'll tell you why you're wrong.
All right. Okay. I mean, her form isn't that bad from Wetherby. Miranda went on and won. Marie's Rock went and won. I can't remember her name then. So I suppose her form is kind of bang there. I mean, she was firmly put in a place against the boys. But also, I think the ground was probably on the quick enough side for her. You know, most of her most impressive wins have been on like soft and heavy. I know she got away with it at Wetherby that day. But Zambella also went on and won as well. So a couple of times. So I think she's got the best form coming into it. I think personally. I know you're both all going to tell me she probably hasn't, and you're going to tell me I'm a fool for thinking she can get back on track, but I think she can.
No, I thought it was tight between the two of them. She's 3.5, as is Western Victory, and then half a point bigger is My Sister Sarah. Don, you can make the case?
Yeah, look, I actually think I agree with Adele. I think Molly Ollie's Wishes is the right favourite. If you put a line through that run at Ascot last time, which you probably can, she was very free. Then like that form, that mare's hurdle form from Wetherby is working out really well. For all that, like Zambella went over fence, she went over fence. Marie's Rock, she probably improved for stepping up and trip, I think, and she was unlucky obviously in the Lanzarote hurdle. But yeah, look, I think she's the right favourite. And the Western Victory and My Sister Sarah, they actually met in a hurdle at Galway when Western Victory was only just beaten by Jazzaway. She looked a winner going over the final flight and up the hill, and Jazzaway just stayed on down the outside and got the better of her. My Sister Sarah was well behind her that day, but she was giving her lots of weight. So there shouldn't really be much between them. It's interesting, Western Victory. She's left Declan Queally. She's having her first run for Emma Lavelle, having been sold at the mare's sale for 80 grand. So she's an interesting mare, and she did well last time. It was a good battle between her and Minx Tiara. Both of them are front runners, and Western Victory led then Minx Tiara took it off her over the second last, and Western Victory got back up and beat her pretty well in the end. But I think that 3 mile trip on soft ground probably just stretches Minx Tiara. She's probably more 2 mile 6 mare, whereas Western Victory sees it out well. So look, she's very interesting on her debut for Emma Lavelle. But I just think My Sister Sarah, even though she's actually rated £2 inferior to Western Victory on ratings, I think she's probably a classier filly. And she was beaten last time in the grade 3 mares hurdle at the Christmas festival. That the one Royal Cahala just got up and beat Heaven Help Us. But her best form was actually right-handed. She was very good at Kempton when she beat Dragon Bones. I know Dragon Bones maybe underperformed a wee bit that day. She only kept on into second place. But My Sister Sarah was well on top. It was a really good performance on good ground. She's probably better filly or better mare with a bit of cut in the ground, and back right-handed now. Willie Mullen sending her over to Ascot. I think she's probably capable of outperforming her current rating of 143. And she doesn't have much to find with the top two her ahead of her in the market. So yeah, I think My Sister Sarah is interesting there.
She's my selection. I have very little to add. I just think she's the class of the two. Deasy?
Yeah, same here. I just thought that soft ground, the extended trip, that was all in her favour. And she's been over picking up a bit of sterling early this year. And she'll probably bring home another few bob after this race. Happy out.
Can I just mention Ollie's wishes being keen at Ascot before, and I think when you run horses over 2 miles, people don't realise like how quick they do go, and it does massively sharpen them up. And I think that's why she was keen as well at Ascot. She was stepping up from 2 miles for the first time again. So I think she had just been sharpened up a little bit too much from running over 2 miles, and she steps up again, I know, on Saturday. But the trip shouldn't be a problem for her. She's won over 3 miles and 2 miles 5, so she should be fine at the trip. She hopefully she's had a little bit of a break. She just might have settled down. They might have just maybe changed the routine a little bit at home. Maybe just kind of knock that edge off her. Hopefully.
That's our look at that contest at Ascot, the Mayor's Hurdle. We move on to the Peter Marsh, which is the 2:35 at Haydock. Royal Pagaille is back. The race that put him on the Gold Cup agenda last year, that didn't work out. He's rated higher here. He's 4.0. Empire Steel might have gone close last time in the Roland Merrick. 6.0. Remastered is 6.0. 9.0 Lord de Menil, then into the double figures. It's very much team steam here again with Empire Steel. So, DC, you can take it away with Lord de Menil, and then we'll tell you why you're wrong.
Very good. Yeah, look, Royal Pagaille is a sharp price and is giving away loads of weight, to decent horses. And Lord de Menil, like Haydock is well known for producing kind of specialists, and he has 3 or 4 good runs at the track over course and distance. He's a nice big price. I can see like he's getting, is he getting £12? And Royal Pagaille, the race he won last year, this is a better race, better horses than this. I don't think he should be as clear on him as he is, and I think Lord de Menil is definitely a bit of value for the winning place. But what did say he's 9.0, 10.0.
He is Lord de Menil. Yeah, he's 9.0.
9.0. Yeah, I'm happy enough for that. I think that sure he's second top weight in this, but I think he's a decent horse, and the softer the better. If he gets any softer, that'll suit him. And I'm happy enough for that. He does a bit of value in his price, and I could definitely see him hitting the top 3.
My case for Empire Steel is pretty simple in that he was my best bet last time on Boxing Day, and he may have gone very close. We don't know before coming down. You've got to jump, but I thought he went through the race like a seriously good horse. He'd probably taken a step forward for his reappearance at Haydock, which turned out to be good form. He's still lightly raced, and I'm happy to have him on side. Obviously, he's up to 143 now, which confused me slightly because he came down 4 out, but maybe that's because what other horses have done. He was off 141 then, but anyway, I'm probably missing something there. But I still think he's very progressive. He won in grade 1 at the back end of last year for all he was pulled up, and I think he's much better than 143. So he's best bet material for me again. Take it away, Don.
Yeah, I think he's actually down to 140, Tom. He's £3 out of the handicap, so that's where the 143 is coming from. So yeah, it's not ideal. It's out of the handicap, but I fully agree with all you said. Like I have to say, I was very worried. Goodbye Bobby was my best bet that day, and he loomed large at the fourth last, I think. And the way Goodbye Bobby got home, I think on balance, Empire Steel probably would have won. So I got away with one there. But yeah, look, he's all that you said, Tom. He's a progressive horse. He's got Haydock form as well, which, as Deasy was saying, it's really, really important. And Lord de Menil definitely comes into it. Like he's had 4 runs with Haydock. He's won 3 times and finished second once. And if the ground was softer, Lord de Menil would be very close to being a bet. The thing about Lord de Menil, I thought he would have been a bigger price than he is. He's only 8.0 or 9.0. That's short enough. And he was the one who stayed on to finish second behind Goodbye Bobby. And that was a step back in the right direction for him. And I just think on heavy or soft ground at Haydock, course form at Haydock on soft or heavy ground, that's really, really important. But the fact that Empire Steel has that good run behind Strictly a Dancer on his CV at Haydock, albeit on good to soft ground, not on soft ground, that's massively in his favour. And yeah, I think even off 143, I think he's capable. He definitely has the potential to go beyond that mark.
I don't love he's out of the handicap as a best bet, but there you go. Adele, but referring to my go on, Adele.
Yeah, there's not really much to add, really. I mean, he was travelling really well at Wetherby when he came down. Do you know when you looked at the race and I thought, we should really be looking at Royal Pagaille, but especially with his promising reappearance behind a Plutarch. But I mean, he was the first favourite to win the race for numerous years. You know, usually we kind of look for something with a bit more value, and a horse that I suppose still looks relatively unexposed, like the race, which is why I picked Empire Steel, because go back with his form with Protectorat. I think that's kind of key for him, and I think if he can get back to that, I can't see why he wouldn't, as long as he jumps well, I can't see why he won't be up there in the finish. And I just thought the prices, I'd rather stick with him rather than Royal Pagaille.
Good stuff. Last race we're going to look at is a staying handicap chase, not quite as far as the Peter Marsh from Ascot, which is the 255 on Saturday, and then we'll give you your best bets as well. Yes, we're going to be slightly over the hour, but we had a lot of Cheltenham chat. Apologies. What are we going to do? Palmer's Hill heads of betting 4.0, 6.0 Fanny and Destraval, 7.0 Killer Clown, who won last time, Phoenix Way 7.0, 9.0 Amour de Nuit, Don Shout last time at Musselburgh, same price for Golden Whiskey. Then we get into the slightly bigger prices. Right, DC, make the case for Killer Clown first of all.
He was just very, very good the last time. He, I'm just getting the tab is opening here now. Bear with me for a second. First of all, I suppose we have to give a show for Emma Lavelle stable form. She's absolutely flying it. Not a big winner last week, and Killer Clown was part of the double. He beat Slade House by 9.5 lengths last week, and I don't think he even really broke a sweat. No, he's up 7 pounds for that. But he's always kind of threatened to be a good horse. He's a few good wins under the belt tonight. Beat Falco Blitz and Boxing Day as well in 2020. It might have taken him a few runs to get going this year, but I just thought that the way he won last week, it looked like a horse who was very well in himself, and I don't think 7 pounds is going to stop him. Now this is a hotter race, but if he can, and again he's been sent out after 2 weeks. He's in a 14-day break, so they must fancy him to run well again. And this is a tough race now. I had a hard time nailing my colours to the mast on one in this, but I just think the last time he was very, very impressive, and I'm happy to go with him. Probably just win only though.
I'll hop on that bandwagon. I'd probably be win only. I thought he was really good last time with the tongue tie on, and maybe he's turned a corner. I thought it was worth playing to find out at 7.0, definitely. For all that, you've got 3 previous winners banged towards the top of the market. Not a strong opinion. Don?
Yeah, look, it's a hot race. Palmer's Hill was very good the last day. He stayed on well. He won well. A £6 hike was not harsh for that. So I think it's right that he's favoured. But I just thought Fenian Destraval, the way that he won the last day at Newbury, when he had Amour de Nuit back in third, and Amour de Nuit, as Tom was saying, went out and won at Musselburgh, Colorado. Dock finished second. He went and chased home the subsequent Welsh national winner. I Will Do It. And that was 2.5 miles. He kept really good company last year. He ran in the Clarence House Chase. He ran in the Game Spirit Chase. He ran in the Ryanair Chase at Cheltenham. And I just think he's a classy horse. He's only just turned 7 as well. So there should be plenty more to come from him. And he comes into the race on a high. He's got Ascot form as well. Again, over fences at Ascot, I think it's important that horses have demonstrated that they can jump around Ascot and jump fluently around Ascot. And that run in the Clarence House Chase last year was a very, very good run. He wasn't beaten that far in the end. Like, he was only a couple of lengths behind Little Logan waiting patiently. He's only a head behind waiting patiently. So the fact that he's jumped around Ascot and jumped fluently around it, probably over a trip that's short of his best, I think 2.5 miles, it looks like his optimum trip. And he's only like he's still a horse who he's still a coming horse. I think he's still just fulfilling his potential. And okay, he got a fair hike now the last day. He got £8 for winning at Newbury the last day, but he's given away to everything. But I think he could be classy enough to cope with that hike. And Lucy Turner takes £7 off, which is, you know, when you get into those types of weights, that's a positive. So yeah, I think he'll go well.
And Adele, you got a shout for another progressive horse, Palmer's Hill.
Yeah, I mean, he looks progressive. Worried me a little bit what John Joe said about him after he won at Ascot, saying he could just fall apart on him, like, for no reason. He's got a poor immune system, which I thought, because he looks like he's in really good heart. He was impressive at Ascot, and then, as Don said, he went up £6 for that, which looks fair enough. But I have noticed he's been withdrawn with a few self certificates and vet certificates. So he maybe, if they do temperatures there, I'm not quite sure. Maybe it something obviously flags up. He's obviously got something underlying there that for John Joe to say something like that about his immune system. He's obviously been sick a few times. So I'm going to go lightly on him because I was worried that he's that a sign he might fall apart on Saturday. But he's in good heart. So he's got that course and distance form, which is a plus for Ascot. So I'm going to go with him. I'm just going to go tread lightly with him after what he said. Didn't think it was a good thing to say about him.
I suppose you hope that, he's not going to, if he's not right, he won't run, I guess. That's the hope, right?
Just trying to get a bigger price for the boss.
Well, it was a weird thing to say after he's won the race, and whether there's something underlying there, I'm not quite sure. But I mean, he's in good form, so I'll stick with him and I'll just go lightly.
Right, best bets for Saturday now. Best bet, Deasy, what's your Saturday best bet, bud?
Stellar Magic. And we've been asked to give next best as well because most of us put up Stellar Magic. So I'm going to go Stellar Magic as the nap and my sister Sarah as the next best. Okay.
Adele, your best bet?
Mine was Stellar Magic as well. So my next best is Empire Steel. So fingers crossed. Be nice if the two of them win.
Yeah, that would be a nice little double, wouldn't it? Mine is Empire Steel as well, but I'm also going to mention Ash Tree Meadow, which you can see on your screen at Navan in the 105. I don't have prices, but Gordon's got another one in there. Willie's got another one in there. I don't think he'll be favourite because he's almost run a couple of times, so he's more exposed than some of the unexposed sorts, if that makes sense. He's definitely going to appreciate going up to 2.5. I think he's really interesting. Whether or not he's going to get a mark off this, and that's going to be the campaign, I don't know. But keep a big eye out, I think, for Ash Tree Meadow. And if he was bigger than sort of 6.0, I would be very interested. I think Davy's on board, so he might not be. Might be talking utter rubbish, but have a look. Dom.
Yeah, I agree with Ash Tree Meadow. He's in my tracker, Tom. Gary Claremont is my.
Did you write down why, Don?
I did write down why. Yeah, it's very long though. It was from his not his last run, his previous run.
Yes.
Yeah, against Gringo Dorel. Yeah. Gary Claremont against your horse Stellar Magic. I just think that his 2 runs at Ascot, his last 2 runs, he can be marked up on both of them, especially the last one. And a £1 hike is fair. I think a mark of 143 should be well within range.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. DC, thank you. Adele, thank you. Don, thank you very much. And if you're unsure of any of the horses that we put up, don't forget to go to insights.matchbook.com for a recap of all those best bets. They'll all be there for you. And if you like what you've seen, give us a like on YouTube and subscribe as well. And give us a review on your preferred podcast app also. We will chat to you again soon. Good luck this weekend. Bye-bye.